many years ago, when my sister and I were little kids, our dad introduced us to a family ritual, the one he himself adopted as soon as he left his father's house at the age of 14. He moved a lot, from the polar region of Russia to Central Asia and then to the Ukraine. And this ritual helped him, and later it helped us, the next generation, to stay emotionally connected to our families. Every Sunday, the whole family would sit down and write a letter to our grandparents and other relatives. I must confess, it was met with certain resistance on our part at first, but with time it has become a tradition for me, and I'm very grateful to my dad for this. Speed of point-to-point personal communication has grown recently. With high-speed email services, text messaging, Skype, it's nearly instant right now, widely available and affordable. But the quality of such communication, in my opinion, has dropped significantly and keeps declining. Just think about it. When was the last time you read or write a real long letter to your loved one? It is probably easier for us to guess what text font our spouse would use than to being able to distinguish his or her handwriting from somebody else's. I believe that reintroducing writing letters by hand into our lives would help us to fill the gap between the quality and the quantity. I know that writing letters by hand have several very obvious drawbacks. It requires us to have this ancient skill of cursive handwriting. Delivering letters is very slow, much slower than any other modern means of communication. And the process itself requires a lot of efforts and time, so precious in our busy life. But I will show you that if we look closer, these exact features could be beneficial if we talk about personal communication. In our times of electronic everything, handwriting is nearly extinct. Do you know that at least 41 states no longer require to teach cursive writing or reading to kids? That's true. 41. We are much more comfortable with text messaging, touch typing, and keyboard tapping than with cursive handwriting. But at the same time, it means that if we decide to write a letter by hand, this physical act will leave no room for multitasking. It will require us to pay full attention and be present here and now. Snail mail is slow. But this means that there would be no sense to write anything about recent events or news. Instead of actions and material facts, we would have to find something else to share, something more valuable. Thoughts, emotions, feelings. Writing a letter by hand is time-consuming and effort-demanding. It is completely different from writing an electronic letter. Enough to say there is no delete button, backspace button, or undo button, and there is no spell check. And of course, this different process will give you a completely different outcome. Personal, unique, the only one of its kind. crossed out words, uncertain handwriting, margin marks, convey much more emotions than words themselves, or any happy face or sad icon could be. In many ways, writing a letter by hand will require us to go out of our comfort zone, go beyond our limits, push the envelope. But it doesn't require much. Some stationery, a pen, and our heart. Just think about it. An early morning, you go out and head to your mailbox. There is just usual stuff inside. Junk mail, bills, useless coupons. But this time, there is something else there. An envelope with your name on it, written in such a familiar handwriting. It may be from your parent, from your spouse, or from your kid, who just happened to be far away from you. You may have spoken to them just an hour ago, but this thing is different. Unlike emails or phone calls, handwritten letters do not eat space and time as they go through. They fold and preserve them, meaning that they can be unfolded. And you can go back and meet your loved ones exactly as they were then and there. And one day, you might be able to meet yourself exactly as you were then and there, with your today's eyes. But guess what? It may never happen. Your loved ones were not here today. They don't know you're looking for a letter for them. It's now up to you. Go beyond your limits. Push the envelope. Write a letter.